What's going on, world? It's me, Andre Cat9 here from West Palm Beach, Florida. So in this video, I want to talk about how I draw my zones. Okay, when it comes to trading, I trade off of a couple of things. I trade off of zones, Fibonacci, and trend lines, and other technical analysis. But for the most part, I trade off of zones and Fibonacci's. Okay, and then also if you add in a little bit of fundamental analysis to the play, it can help you out a lot. But in this video, I just want to talk about how I draw my zones and how you can trade off of zones. So I'm going to go ahead and dive deeper into showing you exactly how I draw them and where I draw them, and hopefully you can implement it into your trading strategy as well. So let's go ahead and show you exactly how I draw my zones so you can start implementing this. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive into showing you exactly how to draw these zones. Okay, and these zones can help you out a lot. When it comes to drawing these zones, it kind of help you to understand or kind of know where price is going to be struggling at, okay, or where price can be rejecting, or where price could be breaking. All right, so you want to see these zones can help you catch good entries off of rejection. So let's go ahead and show you. So when I trade, before I start trading, I like to come to the charts 15 to 30 minutes early or an hour early to draw my zones. Okay, and what you want to do on the daily, I start from the daily all the way down to the 1 hour. That's where I draw my zone. I draw my zones on the daily, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour. So where you want to start first is on the daily. Okay, so on the daily, you're looking for your previous weekly high and you're looking for your previous weekly low. Okay, so what you want to do is, once you figure out your previous weekly high and low, you want to pull out your rectangle tool here on TradingView. Okay, and if you don't know where to find that rectangle, you'll see a toolbar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll find a rectangle toolbar. You can click on the little arrow here, and you'll also bring up more shapes and more tools here. But what you want to do is, on your left, you want to look for the rectangle shape, and if you want to have it as your favorite, so you can have it at the top here, you can star it, and you'll have your rectangle. Shape here in your favorites. Okay, this is your favorites toolbar here. Okay. Now, so once you figure out your high, so I already can see the previous weekly high here. So I'm gonna go. So I usually start from Monday to Friday. So so this is Monday, all right, and you can see the dates down here below here, and on the bottom here you can see the date. So I start from the previous week's Monday. So Monday all the way to Friday. Okay. So Monday wasn't the highest, but Tuesday was the highest. Okay. So Tuesday was the highest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my rectangle tool here, and I'm going to start from the wick to the body. Okay, so I'm going to draw it from the wick all the way down to the body. Okay, there we go. Now you can have it at whatever color you want. It's really up to you. It's your preference. But I have a template saved. And if you click on these on your toolbar, on your favorite toolbar, you'll see like a 4 little box area here. You can save templates, okay? And I already have a template saved for the previous weekly high and the previous weekly low, and previous New York section low, high, and previous London section. I have all those templates already saved. So if you want to save a template, that way you don't have to keep doing it over and over. Then just save it as a template, okay? So this is the previous weekly high, and I have it as this color here as my previous weekly high. And now we just need to look for our previous weekly low. Okay, so look like Friday was our previous weekly low. All right, remember, you want to start from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday, this is going to be the previous weekly low here. So what you want to do is you want to grab your rectangle shape and do the same thing like we did for the previous weekly high. So we want to start from the bottom of the wick all the way up to the body. Okay, all the way up to the body. Okay, and then if you want to bring it all the way over here, you can, but that's the previous weekly low. Now We want to go back. I'm going to go to my template. I'm going to name it the previous weekly low. Okay. So there you go. That's how you draw your previous weekly high and previous weekly low zones. Okay. These zones can be very, very helpful when it comes to knowing where price could be struggling. Okay. When it gets to these zones. Okay. Now we're gonna skip 4 hour, but I'm gonna come back to the 4 hour. But usually I trade based off of the rejection off of the 1 hour zones. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the 1 hour, and then on the 1 hour, and it all depends on what session you're trading. Are you trading London session? Are you trading an Asian session? Are you trading the New York session? Mainly, I trade the New York session. So sometimes I trade the London session, but if you're going to be trading the New York session, you want to draw your zones during the New York session. If you're trading New York session, if you're trading London session, you want to draw your London zones. So you want to draw your zones if you're going to be trading London session. So there's a different. I'll show you some scenarios, but in this scenario, I'm showing you how to draw your zones for the New York session, and then I consider New York session starting from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's how I look at it. But it's your preference, okay? But let me go ahead and figure out what was the previous weekly high. So I already can see right now our previous weekly, not previous weekly, but our previous New York session high is right here, okay? Previous weekly, previous New York session high right here. And then how do I know? How do I know? What's the New York session and what's the Asian session and what's the London session? Well, the red candle means that I'm in the New York session. The green candles mean that I'm in the London session, and the yellow candles right here in this area, it means that that's the Asian session. That's how I got it. I got these candles colored, so I know what session I'm in. There's there's indicators that can show you exactly what session you're in. I'll make another video on that, but I already see my previous New York session high here, so we're going to draw from the wick, okay, and I'm going to draw it down to the bottom of the body, and then we're going to bring it over, and we'll go to my template. I'm going to name it New York session high. And then also, same thing, we want to look for the previous New York session low. Now, in this case, there's a long wick here. I don't want my zone to be, again, I'm going to draw from the wick all the way up to the body here. Okay. I don't want my zone to be that big, okay? I really don't want my zone to be that big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down to a lower time frame to tighten this up a little bit. But this zone is too big. So if you draw it from the bottom of the zone, see how many pips this is. So this is about like 26 pips zone there. So we don't want it that big. And then I'm going to show you exactly how you can determine your stop loss too as well. But you don't want this zone to be big because that's like 26 pips. You normally, when it comes to my stop loss, I like to have it at like 10 to 15 pips stop loss. So this zone is way too big. So I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to name it. I'm going to go to my templates. I'm going to name it New York session low, and then I'm going to break it down to the 30-minute. So 30-minute, the wick is still too long. The 15-minute, the wick is still long, and the final, you can't go no lower. You can't go no lower than the 5-minute. So you have to, at the 5-minute chart is the minimum where you can tighten this zone up. So look like we can go ahead and tighten this zone up. We tighten it up. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and tighten it up a little bit. So that same wick on the 5-minute got a little bit smaller. So now we're able to make it look a lot better than having a big zone there. So like I said, if the wick to the body is too long or too big, break it down so you can tighten up a little bit and make it a little bit more better. Okay, so that's how you draw your previous. Again, recap. Let's recap. So we started on the daily, right? We figure out our previous weekly high and previous weekly low. Okay, and then we went down to the hour chart, and then depending on what session you're trading in, we're looking for the previous, on the 1 hour, we're looking for the previous New York session high and low if you're trading the New York session. Okay. And then again, if you're going to be trading the London session, you look for the previous London, session high and low. So I'll show you an example of that. So if you're trading the London session and you want to figure out the previous London sessions high and low, same thing. All right. Like I said, I have these candles colored. That way I know what session I'm in. So the green candles mean that I'm in the London session. So I'm going to look for the highest. All right. And then I'm going to bring it, this is the highest, so I'm going to bring from the wick to the body. This is the London session high, okay? And then I have a template for that as well, so I'm going to name it previous London session high, okay? And I also have the zones colored. And then down here in the bottom, okay, you want to look for the previous London session low, okay? In this case, this was this low here, okay? Simple as that, that's how I do it. Okay, and then you want to name it the previous London session low. Okay, so but like I said, mainly I trade during the New York session. Sometimes I trade London session as well, but the main session I trade in is the the New York session. Okay, so once you have those zones on board, you can also go to the 4 hour and draw random zones. Okay, so I also draw random zones as well. So if I'm looking at the 4 hour, I want to see where price struggles at. All right, I want to see where price have a hard time breaking or rejecting. Okay, so I'll pull out I'll go back to the rectangle tool here, and I'll figure out where price is struggling at. Okay, and look like this area is where price is struggling at. As you can see right here. Oops. And then the way I draw my random zones, let me see. I color it blue. I make it blue. I mean, like I said, you can color. You can have whatever color you want. It's up to you. It's your preference. But I have my blue zones as random. Okay. This also gives me more more areas and more zones to look out for when price reach these areas. So this area right here, rejection, right? This area, rejection. This area, rejection. This area, rejection. So you can kind of see where I'm going at. Like when you draw these zones, right? When price come up to these zones, price can be rejecting those areas or it could be breaking those areas. So those are the areas that you want to look out for when price come to these areas or come to these zones. All right. And then once you have your zones on the chart, then you can go to your 5 minute. This is where I basically take my trades off. Mainly I take my trades basically off of the 5 minute. Okay. And right here, like here's an example right here. So this was a rejection. So if you saw this candle create a bearish engulfing, meaning these two candles engulf this candle right here, you can probably get in for a trade right here. You could have got in the trade right here, and you could have called. How many pips this is? Like you could have got in this candle here. You could have called 20 pips or 30 pips. Okay, you could have called 30, almost 30 pips. Okay, on that move right there. So all you're doing is looking if price is gonna reject the area. All right, does it happen does it happen all the time? No. It might reject that area and it might come back up, but for the most part, if you have your risk management down pat, you're good. But all you're doing is looking for price to reject these zones or break these zones. Now, if price would have broke the zone, right, would have went up, what you want to do is you want to wait for the retest and then get in. But the thing is, like when it comes to like knowing what direction you're in, you want to also look at market structure. Okay, so how do I figure out market structure? So after I draw my zones, I want to look at market structure. Market structure is very, very important. And how do I look at the market structure? I look at the 4 hour to determine the market structure. Okay, all right. I want to see where the market is going. Is the market creating higher highs or higher lows? is the market creating lower highs and lower lows? That's what I want to find out. Okay, so um, what I will do is I also put on this tool here to help me out a little bit, but you don't need it. But there's a tool inside of TradingView called higher high and lower low strategy. Okay, now if you see, if you're looking at if looking at the pound, the yen, we're seeing on the 4 hour, we're seeing a lot of higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs. But price look like it's going into a downtrend, which now price broke this higher low here and created a lower low. So once price on the 4 hour breaks a higher low, we're looking to get into a downtrend. So the downtrend is considered of creating lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. So now what we want to start, starting next week, we want to be selling. We don't want to be buying. Okay, now it all depends, because there's always fundamental and economic data that can change things around. But for the most part, we want to look at next week. We want to look for sales for next week. Okay, so lower lows, lower highs. All right. Okay, now we look like we creating prices going into from zone to zone here, but we broke a major level, which is the higher low. So we want to look for sales here. So if price comes back up into the zone here, which sometimes always do, if price come back up and tap into the zone, right, we want to look for the rejection to the downside. Now, does it happen all the time? No. Like, price could come back up and break this zone, but since we looked at the 4 hour and we figure out the market structure, right, we want to know, if this is, what the market is going, if is an uptrend or a downtrend. In this case, price came from all the way up to the top here on the 4 hour and broke this higher low here and created a lower low and then created a lower high. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to look for the next. This might be the next lower high right here. This got to be the next lower high. I mean, like I said, this could be the lower high. It could come up, but this is the lower high, and then we want this area to come down and create another lower low, right? And then if this can create another lower low here, and price come back up here in this zone here again, we can look for another sale opportunity. Okay, so we can look for a sale opportunity here, right? And we can also look for another sale opportunity here in this zone. So the market structure is very, very important. Okay, market structure is very, very, very important. You want to figure out, what type of market you're in. Are you in an uptrend or are you in a downtrend? Okay, once you figure that out and you have your zones, then you can just go ahead and go down to the 5-minute. Right, you can go to the 5-minute chart, and then you can, most definitely, know what areas you want to be trading at. You want to be trading. You want to trade in this. You want to trade in these zones. Okay, you don't want to be trading here. You don't want to be selling here, because this price can come back all the way up here into the zone. So you want to take the trade off of these zones. Okay, you want to take a trade here or here. Okay, here or here. All right. If you're gonna take a trade in this area, you want to wait for price to break this zone here, break the previous New York session low here, which is this red zone here, and come back up and retest, and then get in at a better entry for a sell. Okay, to the downside. Okay, or you want to wait for price to come back up into this zone and get in for a sell entry right up here in this area. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys are getting value from this. But with that being said, that's how I draw my zones, and that's how you want to be trading. If you guys got value from this, let me know in the comment section. Let me know, like, comment, and share this video. But also, if you guys want me to pass your 5K to 10K challenge, I'm only charging a one-time fee of $150 to pass your 5K or your 10K challenge, and we can go ahead and get you funded, and then you can start implementing this strategy. So if you're interested in that, just reach out to me. I charge a one-time fee of $150, but I hope you got value. I will see you guys on another video. Take care, y'all.